Hello and welcome. Time for us to get back into it. See what Memphilia has to say about us. We're totally taking credit for that 20-second kill of Ifrit last time. Is to this steam post of Envoy. Traveled the realm, aiding those with need without thought. Confirmed to Thancred that the Scions would benefit from your aid, and no sooner had you joined us than you personally bested the Primal Ifrit. Yep, that was us. 20 seconds. Fire. One payment. Last fame does not come without a price, as you'll soon discover. We have guests, or rather, you have guests. Flame Officer, Serpent Officer. Given to understand that the Scions of the Seventh Dawn have but recently welcomed a new hero. I'm here on behalf of the Maelstrom Company of Limsum Lamensa to offer said hero a place of honor within our ranks. Recent exploits have garnered you the attention of the grand companies. Each organization would have Ifrit's bane for its own. To this end, all three have sent officers to court you. They would not ordinarily go through such lengths to enlist a new recruit. That they have is evidence of their high regard to you. I find myself wondering how word of Malarian's deed spread so quickly that the immortal flame should know of her triumph is to be expected. What of the other grand companies? Oops. It's just no ordinary woman who can face a primal and emerge the victor. Heart of the Twin Adder has need for a valiant woman such as you. Join your strength to ours, friend, and together we will ensure that peace ever reigns over the Twelves Wood. A pleasure it is to finally meet you, Mistress Leandri. Why, comrades speak of you in the most glowing terms. Why, even before you aided us against the Amalja and their dread primal, yours was already a respected name in Ul'dah. Our people know you and love you well. Woman of your talent belongs with the immortal flames. Join your strength to ours, friend, and together let us secure a prosperous future. The Admiral was not exaggerating when she said, "You have the look of a hero. Full often does she speak of you, friend. It is only natural that we should want you for the Maelstrom. Join your strength to ours, and together we shall see the grand vessel of Limsum Lamensa to the shores of glory." Very well. I'm quite sure you need no reminding. May have a brief summary of the situation would help to clarify your thoughts on the matter. As you know, the grand companies are all encompassing organizations empowered to call upon the martial, economic, and technological resources of their respected city-states in times of strife. There are presently 3 such organizations in Eorzea: the Maelstrom of Limsum Lamensa, the Order of the Twin Adder of Gridania, and the Immortal Flames of Ul'dah. Serving a grand company means serving the nation to which it belongs. You will be charged with its defense and tasked with advancing its cause. In return for your faithful service, you will be furnished with various rewards, some of which may prove useful to you in your other endeavors. If you are agonizing over which of the grand companies best deserves your loyalty, be at ease. The commitment you make this day need not be permanent. Should you wish to shift your alliance at a later date, you are entitled to do so. And yet I concede that it's no small choice you face. A thought occurs to me. You will, of course, recall that the 3 city-states are planning to hold remembrance services. As part of the proceedings, I'm given to understand that the leader of each grand company will deliver an address. Carrying these addresses ought to help you make an informed decision. What say you, my dear officers? A fine suggestion. You are wise as you are beautiful, my lady. Very well, let Malaria hear our leader speak and return here with her decision. We eagerly await your answer. I know well that adventurers are by their nature a liberty-loving breed, and not best suited to the discipline of military service, but I strongly urge you to join a grand company nonetheless. While the promise of reward is enticing in itself, it is not the only benefit. You are possessed of great power, and with it are capable of doing untold good. Yet know that great power is wont to attract attention, not all of it friendly. There will be those who wish you ill, and you must needs be on the lookout for them. Yet, however vigilant you are but one woman. In the midst of a grand company, however, you will be one woman amongst many, a friend among friends. Your achievements will be shared, and so will the danger. I can think of no better arrangement. Of course, joining one organization need not mean leaving another. Hope that we can continue to rely on your aid. The 12 know we will have need of it in the days ahead. The grand companies seek to protect their own nations. We scions, on the other hand, seek to preserve the future of Eorzea as a whole. Similar, yet not quite the same. Now then, I expect you'll be afield more often in the future. As such, I would have you carry this link pearl with you at all times. It'll allow you to stay in touch regardless of location. Eorzea is changing, and you have the power to shape it anew. None can say what the morrow will bring, but so long as we believe in ourselves, there is naught we cannot achieve. So now it's time for us to get ready. Before you depart, make sure you speak to Tataru. She will appraise you of where and when the Remembrance services are due to take place. Okay. Doot, doot, doot. Oh, yeah, this is fine. Because Tataru is up here. I might have sung your praises a little too loudly and often to a few too many people. Yep. All goes to plan. Gridania's Grand Company, the Order of the Twin Adder, will hold the first of the three services. I should probably mention at this point that due to organizational challenges involved in assembling all of the parties, it's possible that the order of the services might change. Still, there's not much we can do about that, so make Gridania your first protocol. Next, we need to go to Oda, and then at the Royal Promenade. And remember, be a special guest. Last but not least, you must make your way to the stateroom of Limsimo Mensa. The room is accessible via the Admiral's lift. Identify yourself to the sentry, and he will admit you. Alright. Hope you find this Remembrance services suitably educational. Alright. So we can actually do these in any order. But we're going to do Old Daw last for one reason. Because we're going to have to come back here afterwards. So we'll head over here. Get the Aethernet shard. We'll head to the residential district. And like she said, there's no penalty at all for swapping. You can swap as much or as little as you like. There are a couple of special things that you can get for each one. And I don't know, if we get the chance and have the inclination, we might actually do so. Just to get the special stuff. Oh, looks like there's still snowmen over here.
I lost my son to the Calamity. The 3 seats is all together.
Some say you couldn't take a step without stumbling over a body. Our forebears were once strangers in the Twelveswood. Fearful of the green wrath, they hid themselves in the dark recesses of the earth. Yet they dreamed of basking in the dappled sunlight of the forest. Through great effort, they proved their worth to the elementals, and were granted a place beneath the boughs. So it was that Gridania was born, some 5 centuries ago. Working hand in hand, the Hure and the Ellison settlers sowed the seeds of our civilization, and soon they were joined by folk of all races. So nourished by the waters of unity, and blessed by the light of the matron, Gridania flourished into the great nation it is today.
Do you see the Gridanian standard? There, hanging behind the elder seats here. The entwined serpents represent the unity between Hure and Ellison. An elegant symbol, do you not agree?
In accordance with the will of the elementals, we have embraced a life of peace. Alas, our neighbors have not always sought the same for themselves, nor for us. Though we Gridanians have no love for war, we have still less for those who would threaten our way of life. Ever have we fought to protect the sanctity of the Twelveswood. When the Garlean Empire brought its war of conquest to Eorzea, we rallied under the noble standard of the Twin Adder that we might push back the encroaching darkness. And it was we who prepared the ground for the reformation of the Eorzean Alliance, that all the peoples of this realm might stand united against the common threat. Years ago, the Alliance met the armies of the Empire upon the fields of Carteneau. It would prove the bloodiest battle in recent memory. Countless Gridanian lives were lost. As Supreme Commander of the Order of the Twin Adder, ever shall I bear the weight of our people's sacrifice. Alas, their loss was not the only tragedy to befall us that day, for soon came the Calamity. The scars borne by our forest are a constant reminder of its violence. Our lives have been irrevocably changed, each waking hour a struggle to survive. Driven to desperation, some among us have strayed from the path of righteousness, resorting to banditry, poaching, and other unconscionable deeds. To compound our woes, the Ixal have returned in force, emboldened by our suffering. They test our defenses nigh without cease, and prey upon the vulnerable. So beleaguered from within and without, it is of little wonder that our countless Eorzeans laid down their lives that we might behold another dawn. Please join with me in honoring their memory.
And how do you propose to honor the memory of those you cannot remember, pray tell?
The destruction wrought by the Calamity was indiscriminate. It dealt death to Eorzean and Garlean alike. Yet while we have labored to rebuild our homes, to rebuild our lives, the Empire has set about raising steel fortresses here in the Twelveswood. Let none be mistaken. The Garleans remain the greatest threat to our survival. If we are to stand against them, we must remember what it is to be united. Our many troubles blind us to the woes of our fellow man. Thence is harmony lost. Yet harmony is the founding principle of Gridania. We are gathered here to honor the fallen. Let them be honored not only in word and thought, but through concerted action. I bid you join hands with me once more beneath the Twin Adder's standard. And together, let us heal the forest's wounds, that our progeny might live in harmony beneath these ancient boughs. For serenity, purity, and sanctity, we must think of the children.
What will be done? It's up to us to protect the forest.
All the elementals!
So we didn't see them during our playthrough because we weren't the right class. But the one garbed in black is actually the conjurer trainer.
Alfie Nell. And my sister, Alize, at your service. I saw at a glance that you were a fellow traveler. You might call us students of history, sampling the realm's remembrances in pursuit of enlightenment.
Yeah. We haven't really had to deal with the Ixal because most of our stuff is over in Ul'dah, but we'll have to deal with the Ixal soon enough. And then the Sylphs, which are interesting in their own right. Oddly enough, one of the reasons why they haven't been attacked by the Sylphs is because of their primal remote. Charles was grievously wounded during the Calamity, leaving Gridania vulnerable to attack. People are hopeful that restoring the wood, and thereby the power of the elementals, will put an end to their woes. But how long will it take? Centuries? The Ixal will continue their incursions, spurred on by Garuda and her insatiable appetite for destruction. Whether the Gridanians like it or not, sooner or later it will come to all-out war, and when it does, the Order of the Twin Adder will need all the help it can muster. How valuable might the aid of a capable adventurer prove to them? So we got that. We'll travel to Limsa next. And we'll head over here to listen to Admiral Merlwyb. And we proceed to the stateroom.
The Gallians are another market altogether.
So much for our alliance.
It's sunk beyond the seabed.
Brothers and sisters of the sea, hearken unto me. Look upon this, our mighty crimson standard, and tell me your hearts do not swell with pride. "700 summers have come and gone since our forefathers first ran aground in this fertile bay. In that time, guided by the mother of oceans, Limsa Lominsa has grown from humble fishing village to uncontested ruler of the 5 seas and beyond.
Did you look as the Admiral bid you? It is a rather stirring standard, I must say. The crimson field is meant to signify the blood of fallen crewmates, while the black longship represents a pirate vessel.
When the Gallian Empire marched upon Eorzea, we assembled beneath the Maelstrom standard, and our grand company was reborn. All answered the call, from the Knights of the Barracuda to Hilfier's bloody executioners, and together we met our would-be conquerors upon the field of Cartano. That day, the world bore witness to the united strength of Limsa Lominsa. I swear to you, no army ever fought harder or with more courage, yet many of ours did not survive. Join me now in remembering those who fought in the name of freedom and fell. May their souls be returned to the sea.
Freedom. Yes, they have always been rather fond of their freedom. Much as the beast tribes have. A small wonder. Beneath the surface, one would struggle to tell them apart.
It has been 5 long years since the Calamity struck. 5 long years of tireless rebuilding. Yet still the wounds of the Calamity fester and weep. But when I stand atop the mizzenmast and gaze out upon our battered and broken vessel, I see an undying spirit. Did we not build all this from the wreck of the Galadian all those centuries ago? Shall we not do so again? Yet there are those who would see this ship of ours sink beneath the waves of the restless Rotano. The Sahagin creep ashore seeking blood for their accursed god.
Those fishbuck
Sahagin
bastards.
have risen?
While the mines of Ogomero spew forth kobolds who push ever south, despoiling our lands as they go. These savage beast tribes will be the first waves to crash against our creaking hull. And behind them swells the grim tide of the Guardian Empire. Even now the curs fly their flags within our borders. Doubt not, but that they will be upon us ere long. We are well nigh surrounded, yet there are those among us who would rather turn their swords against their crewmates than our cannons against our foes. How can we hope to repel our many over the beast hordes and the Empire both, and see this ship safe to port. We must mend the rift the Calamity has reopened twixt pirate and maelstrom, and stand fast with our adventurer brothers against the coming tempest. Mark ye well, a crew without unity is no crew at all. 'Tis but a mass of drowned men. To me, then, brothers and sisters of the sea, gather beneath the undying crimson standard, and pledge me your strength, your skill, your wisdom. And with the guidance of the navigator, this great vessel of ours shall ride the waves, till sea swallows all.
Long live the Admiral!
Gather the lads!
Oh, where's me cutlass? I'll follow ye to the seven hells, Admiral!
And there we go, the speech from Admiral Merlweb.
Fancy meeting you again.
As you can tell, the only difference at this point between the two is the ribbons. The boys blue, girls are red, and the colors of their aetherometers. The Sahagin, worshippers of Leviathan, and the kobolds with Titan. Yep, and then they have the Garleans. Nation of pirates, there's no end to the blood feuds between the various factions, and while they fight amongst themselves, the Garleans whet their blades and watch. By words, the Maelstrom standard will be drenched in deeper shaded crimson ere long. So, we're done with that one. Now it's time to return to Ul'dah. And we'll go to the Chamber of Rule, which is probably close to where we need to go. Probably actually need to go down. But we'll find out. Oh, looks like somebody running around with the summon for a Efreet. There we go.
Behold, 'tis the Sultana's animal herself!
And Roban as well!
Hark you, souls of flame, drawn to the bosom of the desert, where the fire burns brightest and shall rage forevermore. Hurrah! Rauban! Where since antiquity, under the sage and judicious rule of the Ur dynasty, we have brought sand into gold. Where by the grace and glory of Nalthar have our brave sons and daughters flourished and prospered. I speak of Ul'dah!
There, at the Flame General's back flies the Grand Company's standard. Note the sigil. The golden scales of order balance the jewel of prosperity with the flame of might.
Great and many are the gifts our nation has given the realm. In Eorzea's darkest hour, on the killing fields of Cartano, none spent more in blood and gold than we. Thus was the 7th Imperial Legion laid low.
So that's how it happened. How soon history forgets.
Yet many left our gates, never to return. Let us pray for our absent brothers and sisters, that they might know happiness in the great beyond, as Thal's honored guests. If the fates were fair, the price we paid that day would have bought us victory. Alas, they are not. And now, but 5 years into this 7th Umbral era, the spirit of sacrifice which granted us our strength is all but dead. Look around you. What do you see? A people divided, downtrodden and enthralled. Where are the merciful alms of the rich? Where is the just steel of the righteous? I ask you, is this the great nation our brothers and sisters gave their lives to save? You who call this living, dishonor the name of the immortal flames. It is but a slow death. Our enemies surround us. The savage hordes of the Amalja wait beside our roads, strangling the lifelines of trade. Meanwhile, the Guardians make mock of our borders and despoil our land of its natural wealth. We stand on a precipice, yet we do not act. Whether trader or soldier, monetarist or royalist, all must recognize that a divided Uldar stands to fall. Victory and fortune walk hand in hand. Ye who seek glory and wealth, look not to what little you can snatch from your neighbor, but to the boundless wealth of the world beyond. Now is the time to unite. Now is the time to ride forth. In the name of the Sultana, I beseech you. Line not your own coffers, but those of the immortal flames. Seek not to prosper from Uldar, but to restore her to prosperity. As the realm prospers, so shall Uldar. As Uldar prospers, so shall her people. Ya for Uldar!
Together we are one.
Your grace.
Raban, people of Uldar, I, Nanimo, 17th in the line of Ul, address you. Much has been made of the wealth of Uldar. Yet those who measure that wealth in coins and carats are gravely deceived. For the true wealth of Uldar lies in the health, happiness, and hopes of her people. Beloved subjects, I bid you raise aloft the torch of Uldar, that her flames might serve as a beacon for all Eorzea to see.
Long live Nanamo!
Glory to the Sultana!
Victory and fortune. Stride fearless into the inferno, for we are by fire reborn! Forsooth,
The time is now!
I fancy you again.
It was definitely a stirring speech. It's a little bit more fire. The Uldars do not shy from confrontation. What threatens their precious prosperity, they will seek to crush it. the Garleans are a little bit more prominent here in Old Daw. We haven't had to deal with them because they really are dangerous. But they also have the refugees. Just the aside, just remember our guests from the Grand Companies. Well, delighted though we are to have them here at the Waking Sands, it would not do to keep them in suspense. So, we'll head back and make our choice of Grand Company. Now we have, in this case, we've already decided who the Grand Company will be. It doesn't make a ton of difference in the long run. At least as far as I know, actually. My first playthrough, I went with Ul'dah. Mostly because I like blue. And the Ul'dah colors are blue. I'm not exactly thrilled about all the greed, but you know, I started there. I was kind of attached to them at that point through story-wise, so I went with them. Not a lot of talking in this one, but I fear any talking of mine over their speeches would really ruin the somewhat poignant matter of what they're talking about, trying to of course, the Scions lost a couple of people too, and those two are a little bit bitter that they did not. Nobody actually mentioned the people that were not actually part of any of the Grand Companies that sacrificed their lives. At least that's how I interpret it. I don't believe they ever actually say anything about it, except for the one.
Of change are in motion regardless.
Brother, are you certain this course is best?
Whatever do you mean, dear sister?
The so-called Remembrance ceremonies were little more than standard waving rallies, as though the Calamity and Seventh Umbral era warranted scarcely a mention.
Well, of course they were standard waving rallies. Since you are so observant, mayhap you noticed what mention was made of the Warriors of Light? None. I suppose they must have forgotten the heroes who spared Eorzea a fate worse than the Calamity? No, dear Alizé, they haven't forgotten these details. wounds the Calamity inflicted upon Eorzea. So deep, in fact, that the realm still bleeds. Needless to say, the beast tribes and their primals do little to alleviate the pain. So, the task of salving Eorzea's wounds falls to the scions of the Seventh Dawn, with a little help from our friends, the Grand Companies. Remembrance will yield no remedy. If our world is to heal, we must put the horrors of the Calamity behind us.
Our grandfather would never entrust the fate of the realm to despots who rewrite history to their convenience. There must be another way to cure what ails this world, and I need to find it.
You are most welcome to try. Our paths may differ, but our destination is the same. In time, I dare say we will see eye to eye.
I should hope so.
My lady, we are to escort you.
It does not come into it. We share the burden of this fate, dear sister, and will prevail together or not at all. The salve will serve not only to close up our present wounds, but prevent old ones from opening anew.
So, we've got the 3, and as we agreed, the Serpent Officer. In order to complete the enrollment, we must report to the headquarters in Gridania. And we will get honey yellow dye. The LUC stands in the southern part of the city, now called New Gridania. Give your name to the personnel officer there, and he'll guide you through the formalities. I have no doubt that your deeds will bring great honor to your order. When next we meet at Gridania, I shall be proud to call you sister. And we'll teleport to the lavender beds. And at least for now, I'm going to keep our return back to Ul'dah, just because, well, we're a black mage, or a thaumaturge at the moment, and that's where we need to go to get all of our skills. So at least for right now, I'm going to keep that teleport there. Just for sheer convenience purposes. So we'll go to the Aetheryte Plaza. Broadening horizons. Oh. Okay. You have served all well, but I believe your greatest accomplishments are yet to come. Such lofty expectations would you pass beyond Gridania's old White Wolf Gate. Take this pass and show it to French Le Monton, I'm guessing is how you call it. Gatekeeper, gird yourself well for the battles to come, and I'm sure that news of your deeds will reach me again ere long. So yes, there is another gate that we can go out of, which is over here, if I remember right. Or not. But in any case, we can't actually go out that way because we're not level 29. We come to the Adder's Nest, headquarters of the Order of the Twin Adder. Ever do we welcome those who would toil in the elemental's name for the good of our forest nation. The Great Adventurer herself. Yes, our recruitment officer sent word that you were on our way. Pleasure and honor both to welcome you to our ranks, friend. High Wind Skyways airship has taken fire from Imperial forces. The skies over the East Shroud. The vessel's engines were crippled and was forced to make an emergency landing southeast of the Nine Ivies. In all likelihood, the airship is bearing civilians. The reports are accurate. It will come down dangerously close to Garlean-occupied territory. Please make all haste in the area to the area southeast of the Nine Ivies, locate the airship, and ascertain the status of the passengers. Oh, as it were, though, we're running a little bit over. I do hope you enjoyed seeing the different remembrances. It's been a long time since I've seen those. So it was kind of nice to remember what had happened in the past. So, thank you for joining me on the path of remembrance, actually. Have a good day, and goodbye.